Bro, if I could cover music, it'd be Nickelback only.
Jake's happy.
Bro, Nickelback rips.
Oh yeah.
I've said this before. Their first album is good. I'm
Oh,
not saying that ironically.
All of their albums are good.
Yo, fuck you. No, fuck Nickelback.
That's a real fan right there.
Yeah. Can't lie.
I don't. How many albums does Nickelback have?
See, if I was a real fan, I'd know that answer, but I don't.
A lot. Too many.
Mid fan.
Not too many. Never enough.
You don't know how many.
You're so anti-Nickelback.
I said the first album's good. The stage is good. I know the name of it. And the next one is like something about silver dollars or some shit.
Sounds about right.
I don't fucking know. Anyway, enough about Nickelback.
Yeah. What's something BMX related that we could talk about? Some news or something.
We're flowing in there.
Yeah, getting there eventually.
Oh yeah.
Did anything cool happen this week?
Boy, here we go.
There's
Hey,
the
buddy.
guy.
Hi, sweetie.
Get this out of the way.
Yeah.
Come
to
see
start.
Uncle Chico.
Come inspect everything and then. Yeah. No, you don't have to lick my hands. Okay, now go see Mike.
Crazy animal. Bed.
Do you have a bed in every room?
I brought one in here.
In
Oh,
hopes
sick.
that he would calm down
Yeah.
and just lay down, but it might not work.
Lie down. Stay.
Oh, good fella.
Attention seeker.
Okay, they all are. I was gonna. What video dropped recently that was really good? I forgot. I wanted to talk about it.
The Dak one probably.
Yeah, that must be it.
Casey Sterling put out a video.
Oh, the Burn Slow promo.
Yeah.
Yep.
I didn't watch that yet. Sorry, Casey.
Who else? There's been some good videos dropping.
Yeah.
Johnny Reikis a couple weeks ago, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true too.
good.
That was a good one.
Dennis constantly putting shit out. ODI video.
Yeah, that's cool.
Vlogs.
Yeah, he's doing the vlog things. That's pretty. I guess that's the new wave.
ODI
yeah.
is that's a cool one to rep, like the grip guys, and like it seems cool for him too, because like you wouldn't expect him to just be like, oh, I have a new grip sponsor, but like that's tight.
Definitely.
He just got hooked up by ODI.
I believe so, yeah.
Oh, cool. Good for him. I didn't know that.
Yep.
They got to be planning a signature grip.
It must be.
Did you see the Chad Cruiser with Currency?
I did.
Bro, that's so sick.
That
man.
was cool.
Yeah, that is tight.
That's the kind of thing that like needs to get more love, I feel like, in BMX.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see Nigel's commercial, like the Smart Water commercial that he was in and all that, and like his new shoe that he just dropped with Jordan?
I
Yeah,
did
that's
see that.
crazy.
Bro.
That is fucking crazy.
That is like that's legit. That's how you get BMX to the next level and get more money into it. Like he posted that picture. I don't remember the basketball player, but he's like gifting the basketball player's shoes on the court,
Right.
and like
Crazy.
he's getting love from all these big names, like just.
he's a legit dude now in like that scene.
Bro.
Like he's just a famous guy now.
He's just a famous guy,
Which
but
is
he's still,
crazy.
but he's still like, he's still dialed on his bike. His bike looks good. You know what I mean? When he's riding, it looks proper.
Mhm.
His clips are still like, clean hop whips. Like he went that direction with it, but kept it to where it's still like, if you're a BMX rider, it's like, damn, yeah, he's still killing it.
Oh, yeah.
I wish more, like, I don't know if people hate on him. There's probably some people who do, but I wish more people kind of backed him because more people need to follow his lead and take that direction. I mean, Chad does. Anyone with like an agent now is probably doing that. Dudes like Billy Perry. I think Dennis probably does it to some extent too. Because guys, I feel like for a long time, guys were probably scared to go that way because then you just get vibed out by the rest of the BMX community.
The core FBM dudes.
Well, I mean, yeah, just guys who, they'll just kind of say that you sold out or whatever, but
Not dudes from FBM, dudes who ride FBMs.
there's click turn down guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of the core audience in BMX.
But the thing is, it's like rising tides raise all ships, right? It's like if those guys go out there and make money and get more people into BMX and make BMX kind of a popular mainstream sport, you, the core guy, are going to benefit from it down the line because your company's going to be able to pay you more, or, you know, there's going to be more opportunities for like trips or whatever the stuff you like to do. So everyone wins. It's weird, man. BMX has this kind of way to shoot itself in the foot. It's happened over and over and over again.
A stigma to like the quote unquote selling out.
Well, yeah, and it's
Maybe.
like, what do you mean selling out? You mean making a decent living and wanting to have,
Yeah.
like, you want to be able to ride bikes for a living. You can be core and do that if you're at like Dennis's level or Garrett's level and you're just so good that you dominate. But for the other 95% of riders who want to do that, you need to be more creative. You need to come up with ways to make money outside of it.
Yeah, and he's definitely like, it's like the people that do their own thing to the fullest.
Yeah.
He's taken his own life, his own upbringing, his own thing, and kind of like he's really like honed into that, you know, like all the people he grew up with in New York, all the, you know, like people that maybe are in the NFL now, but he just went to high school with them.
Yeah, all his connections.
However he got connected to so many people, like it's one thing to know those people. It's another thing to kind of find a way to make a business out of it, I guess.
You have to have a certain personality. You know, he's outgoing. He's obviously like, he's kind of good at networking, super social. But you need dudes like, not everyone is like that, obviously. So it's not everyone can follow in his footsteps. But guys like him, guys like Billy Perry, for example, like that dude is getting BMW to repost his stuff.
Billy?
Him doing like a hot bar beside like the new M2s. Bro, like they're not sharing even skateboarding guys in that position. Like and you know, his brand, like volume is plastered on his frame and they're getting shine from that. It's
Merritt's getting shine.
Awesome.
Merritt's getting shine. It's like,
That's great.
bro, that's what we need. But
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people are hyped on it and they should be. But I know there are a lot of people being like, whatever, this guy's a clown. But that's not what it is. Like he's crushing it. Dude, if BMW is reposting BMX, that's like millions of people who are like, damn, this looks pretty cool. Maybe, you know, it's cliche. It was like, maybe I want to get into that.
That's like my heart in a post. Like everything I
straight
love,
up.
just like, oh, that's for me.
Yeah, that's literally, exactly. Bro.
I saw that and I was like, that is the coolest fucking thing ever.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about that earlier today. Like I was thinking about how BMX is simultaneously like the most hardcore and like gritty, grimy thing, but it's also on the other side, like the most like accepting and like BMX is a really like supportive, accepting community if you break it down.
Yeah.
Like if you're out in a session, like doesn't matter what you're doing, like everybody's pumped on everybody's progression depending on like where they're at. And like, you know, there's not really like it's a very accepting sport for like anybody, I feel like, but at the same time, like there's still those dudes who are like, oh, he's selling out this and that, but it's like it's such a weird like two sides of the same coin thing.
It is. That's a good point.
Like it's just like we can accept the fact that we want to be like welcoming and supportive of people, but then on the same token, like certain people we look at, we're like, no, not that person. No.
Yeah.
Like it's like what did those people do to like fuck up that bad or like whatever, you know? But it's not a fuck up. It's just like a weird perception of people who are doing something more than just like straight fucking grinding handrails or jumping trails.
Yeah, just the most hardcore thing.
It's like they did something that just, there's something that about like watching an earlier Nigel video. There was something he did in that just like lit a fire in people.
Like rub people the wrong way.
Yeah, like the people that like hate on it. It's like there was something about that video that
well,
like they look at the skill, like the level of the riding or something, and they can't give them the benefit of the doubt. Like they can't let them, you know what? Like that's cool that he's getting these opportunities. They're just like, this riding is like not like this is ridiculous. This huge corporate company is sponsoring riding at this level. Yeah. But it's like, what about the level of videography, the level of like the storyline that they created for the video? And there's so many more things than just the level, like the skill level on the bike.
100%.
And it's still good skill level. Like
it's like easily relatable for people who aren't core BMX riders. Like if you showed someone like a Garrett video or like the Johnny Rakes video. Like it's so crazy and technical. Like most people would just be like, "Oh, cool, he's doing."
They wouldn't know
flippy,"
the difference
you know?
between that and a
Yeah.
hop whip. They'd be like, "Oh, that's a bike trick."
Yeah,
Cool,
exactly. Like you
Mhm.
have to be like a really, like you have to be really into BMX to like take note of those things, and like just seeing a dude like do like fucking rips down the street and like weaving in and out of traffic and shit, and like a little trick here and there is like it's cool because it gives you like a vibe of like everybody's cruised on their bike like through the city or whatever, you know, like everybody can relate to that.
I think what you were saying about something at the beginning that rubbed people the wrong way. BMX is very much about you kind of let your riding do the talking. It's not really cool to seek attention. It's not really cool to draw attention to yourself. It's like if you're good and you do cool shit, you'll get the credit you deserve, but don't go around, you know, looking for attention. And I think that stuff that Nigel does and stuff, it gets misinterpreted as an attention seeking thing. But it's just him taking his skills and trying to monetize them. It's not about bragging or anything like that. You know, at the end of the day, that's what every pro rider that makes a video is trying to do, is just trying to monetize, monetize what they're doing. But in his instance, for whatever reason, because it's at a different scale or because it's with a commercial or something, they assume that I mean, that's why I think a good example would be Austin Augie. Like he got clowned a lot. And I think it was mainly because people assumed that he was just trying to get attention or something. But he was another one that, like, I know people outside of BMX that were like, oh, I was watching this Austin Augie vlog, and it was their first time kind of hearing about BMX or whatever. They probably learned about his sponsors from that. So there's room for every type of thing. And I just look at skateboarding as a good kind of blueprint for how BMX could operate. I mean, skateboarding is so huge and has so many different branches. There's core companies that, you know, only release like VX videos, and they're in it just for the passion, and the riders are making just enough money to make it by. And then there are companies like DC or you know,
Palace.
There's like the street league branch of skateboarding, which skaters are making $500,000 per event. It's like they can coexist. I mean, they don't need to be friends or whatever, but they all kind of benefit from the same result, the same ecosystem, which is just everyone knows what skateboarding is. And if you go into a mall, a kid who doesn't skateboard can buy a skater's pro shoe, and that's the exposure that keeps skating alive and functional and lucrative for a lot of pro skateboarders. BMX doesn't have that, dude. You go into a mall, you might find, thanks to Vans, a Dak shoe, but you're not going to find a Nathan shoe, Etnies shoe probably. Unfortunately, you're probably not going to see
a single t-shirt.
Exactly.
There's no fucking way you're finding
exactly
a t-shirt.
Like or a Jordan Godwin shoe, you know, these things. But you're going to see like a Janowski Nike, like that's going to sell millions. Yeah, exactly. So BMX just needs to get out of its own way and just let itself grow to that point. Cause we all know BMX is sick, man. Like, yeah, okay, it's a bit more expensive to get into off the hop than skating, but it's sick. People are interested in it. As Nigel has shown, like the whole world is interested in it. So it's like, just get out of your own way. Let these dudes do their thing. And there's always going to be guys like Garrett who are just core guys that BMX is going to love. You don't have to worry about that, but let the guys who want to go make deals with BMW and they want to make deals with Smart Water and Air Jordan. Like, bro, Nigel has a signature Jordan 1.
That is insane.
That is insane, dude.
What's the like process to select who even has one of those?
That's what I'm saying.
Wow.
What the fuck?
That's what I'm saying. No one has that. Like, I think Paul Rodriguez had a Jordan, like a shoe collab with Jordan at one point, but and that's skateboarding. The fact that Nigel, he's like light years ahead of where BMX is right now. He's thinking so far in the future.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And I think that's so sick, man. Anyways, yeah, I'm rambling, but yeah.
No, it's true. It's wild to see like someone who you could have potentially like hung out with a few years ago is now like a major, like even, same thing with like Harrison Boyce.
Yeah.
He's a huge fucking deal too now. And like I know he works with Nigel a lot on like the Go videos and shit, but like I went on a trip with Harrison like 10, 12 years ago and like just chilled. And now he's like a fucking huge deal. And it's crazy to like, it's cool to see like people in the very like the circle kind of branch out and like become really successful and like use what they learned within BMX in, you know, fashion or like whatever else they're going into. Like, it's like, I think it's sick. And I totally agree with you on like, let people just kind of like,
just support them, dude.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be your thing. That's fine. If you, whatever, like if you rather just be in the streets with your VX and just filming and just posting like that's cool, man. BMX needs that too, but you got to let people do what they do. Yeah.
There's so many different style. Like also there's like in BMX, the Olympic side, where there's people who are really trying to make it serious and corporate and really trying to be professionals as far as like sponsorships and bringing companies in.
Yep.
But it's a whole different, there's so many different avenues. The avenue that Nigel's on is like his own road. Like he paved that road himself, and
100%.
And it's also like a private road. Like there's a private gate.
Yeah.
Like to get to drive on that road, and like nobody knows the code.
No.
You know, like
straight up.
People are like trying to figure out like, what's that code, man? Like
you got to be cool like Nigel, bro.
He's too cool. Like no one's cool enough for that code.
It's gotta be a crazy life. Like,
but Chad's kind of on that trajectory. I mean, with the
100%.
cruiser, just like getting is it a currency collaboration? Like a Jet
He's
Life
sponsored by Jet Life.
Bro,
he's been getting hooked up for a few years, I think.
Thank God we have a cool representative for BMX like Chad Curley to even make that connection. You know what I mean? Like we need that. Not everyone is cool enough to even make that happen. You know,
it's really cool. And it's also crazy because I think Chad's also looking at Nigel saying, I don't know how the fuck he's doing all this shit.
Dude,
like,
people,
no doubt.
He's as confused as we are, or like mind blown, you know, astonished.
Chad's a sneakerhead too, so he's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, he's probably got more information than we do, but
no doubt.
I think he's still just like, wow, like, you know.
But that makes me optimistic about the future of BMX. It's like we have these dudes who are going in that direction. And I mean, if Chad's looking up to Nigel, if you want to talk about letting the skill do the talking, if you're going to criticize anyone, well, you can't really criticize Chad. I mean, Chad is as good as you could want to be. So, and he's still going in that direction of trying to bring it more to the mainstream and make all these connections with famous people. Like, that's so sick, man. We're lucky to have someone like that. Just as lucky as to talk about Garrett, to have someone as good as Garrett, who's as humble and also a good representative for the sport too.
Yeah, it's a cool avenue to take it down. And also so many people in all these different fame industries, they're the same as us. It's like they're all creatives. They all have like an art form that they love to do and that they've pursued and taken far. And I feel like a lot of people who have gotten to like the highest level, those are the people that actually have respect for all art forms.
Yes.
It's like the people who are hating on Nigel, they're not like the people at the top of the art forms. Like those people can appreciate him, I would think, right? Like
I think you're right.
It's hard to get to that level if like you can't appreciate what he's doing.
Yeah, you can recognize the work that he's put into getting where he wants to be. Yeah, like anyone at a high level of anything can I feel like they can appreciate like seeing hard work or the results of hard work, and like they can respect that.
Right.
Because they probably had to do it too. Like I'm sure he busts his ass like crazy to like do what he does.
Of course.
Like it's got to be fucking hard work.
Even the concepts of like, there was that, I love that we're going into Nigel heavy, but like that one concept, I think he like jumped out of the Mercedes while it was like moving, he, like got on his bike.
Oh, in one of the Go videos?
Yeah. And then like hop back in, like, or whatever he did. Like, it's just, that seems like a simple concept where people would say like, oh, I could do that. But to have like the highest level, you didn't. Yeah, exactly. It was his idea.
You didn't do it.
Yeah, period. But like, yeah, like, you know, the concept, the vehicle, this like the opportunity with Mercedes, a filmer, videographer who like took in the concept or worked on it together. They made it happen. They were a New York street. They had to get the right street.
The movie set.
There's a lot of things that go into that. Yeah. Like in communicating that with the sponsor, like whatever, like there's a lot of stuff that goes into that. So
convincing
whole crews. Like entire movie crews that like do that shit. It's crazy.
Right. To just look at it and be like, oh, you just did a hop whip. jumped in his car. It's like, no.
It's like, bro, you
like,
so don't get it.
Yeah.
It's oh man.
Next level shit.
Even Billy, you know, like he films all these GoPro videos and stuff like that. The amount of work, like, oh, whatever, he just has a GoPro, cruises around. It's like, no, the amount of work that dude puts into these videos, editing, planning them out, that doesn't just happen by accident. Like that's
you just logging all that footage.
That's
like,
just
oh
it, dude.
My God,
planning
sorting
stuff
through
out.
That shit,
dude.
Fucking crazy.
I don't know if you guys saw, but I posted that clip of like me just riding my bike in the neighborhood. That was 3 days in the making.
3 days.
So yeah, because I go on like I take Barley on like a walk every day, like on the bike. I just take him on the mountain bike. But like, so the first day, like camera was fucked. Like got home after filming, like camera was fucked. Day 2, same thing. It was in like fast forward mode or something.
Oh my God.
And then like yesterday, like third day trying, I nailed it. Like I figured out like how to put the camera in the right angle to capture it right.
Right, yeah.
But like just that little clip, like that took quite a bit of camera time, editing time, and yeah, to be doing that every day, like making a full vlog, it's really impressive.
Yeah.
It's more than a full-time job.
Totally.
Like way more work.
I have a theory that having a YouTube channel is going to become a necessity for all professional bike riders, at least. I don't know if all athletes in like all avenues will like need it, but I feel like in BMX, like it's almost like a necessity to have a vlog or to have some sort of YouTube channel. You know, it's such an important.
You mean in terms of fulfilling your responsibilities as a pro rider, or in terms of earning income, or both?
Both.
Yeah.
I think that just like how they expect Instagram,
right?
It's going to be, I mean, it already is slowly going that way. Like anyone, and I don't know about you guys, but the more as time goes on, I spend less time on BMX websites and more time just on YouTube.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Yeah,
that's good insight, actually. Yeah.
I've been really, that's like one of the motivators of this podcast too, is just trying to get onto YouTube.
Right. Yeah.
As much as I would love to do a vlog, I don't know if I'm ready, like, to have a camera out all day.
That's the thing too, is like, I feel like obviously there's like a use for it, and like there's certain people who are set up to do that, but like I would have such a hard time like just having to make sure I'm getting everything and being I mean, we're stressed out enough about getting just regular clips.
Yeah.
Like having to get like twice the amount of like good lifestyle clips, and then thinking of like a song and like all this crazy shit.
You
like,
also have to be, and maybe it's a learned skill, but you have to be charismatic.
Yes.
There are certain personality traits that translate well, and some that don't. And I mean, not everyone is as interesting to watch.
Yeah.
You know, there's guys who do a really good job at it and some guys who don't. So it's not for everyone, but yeah, I mean, in terms of every what you were saying, Mike, about every rider probably needing to have a YouTube channel in the future, that's, I think, a byproduct of there just not being enough money in the BMX industry for these pro riders to be able to just live off of the paychecks that they're getting from BMX. They need like income coming in from somewhere else. So you're probably right. Until BMX grows to a point where these guys are making a comfortable living and they can just focus on riding and whatever, filming video parts, contests. Until they get to that point, yeah, they're going to have to find different means. But it's also good. It does just grow. You know, people become more aware of that particular rider, and maybe non-BMXers. Hey, don't hit the mic.
Barley, bed.
Lay down.
Bed.
Just
Like,
has to straight niff the mic. Yeah, just bonk.
Fucking hammerhead.
Oh, God.
Funny, I was actually, Varga and I were talking about like contests and sponsorships and everything. And it's interesting because like I feel like BMX is in a place where like there used to be like X Games used to be a higher prize purse. Yep. There was Dew Tour. There was a lot of events that had like good prize purses. Dew Tour's gone. X Games lowered their purse.
Oh,
now,
really?
Yeah. Now there's fees and like the prize money's garbage. It's like monster triple challenge, like garbage money, like $2,000 for first or something.
Really?
Oh yeah,
it's travel.
It's fucked.
It's crazy.
Dudes are risking their lives for $2,000.
That one dude lost an eye last year.
That was my first. That's first thing that came to mind.
The biggest tricks in the sport are happening at that contest, and they're doing it for like $2,000 to $2,500. But it's crazy because like it's like all the pros need to almost like get together and be like, hey, like we're boycotting this.
Form a union.
Like strike, basically.
A BMX union.
Like it like, and fees, like I don't know how much the winning prize is, but I'm pretty sure it's low. But like if they were like, hey, like we are not going to ride unless the prize money is this much.
Right.
But it's like, it's almost like we're in a place in BMX where people are so scared. Like I feel like BMX as a whole, we're scared that if we did that, they would be like, all right, well, see you guys later.
Peace out.
Like we feel like we are not even worth, like if we stand up for ourselves, we're not even worth that to like some of the, you know, like the people that run the sport or put on the events. And it could be true, it could not be, but at the end of the day, someone like a sport like skateboarding, in my opinion, they would be like, well, fuck you then, and walk away, right? And if someone like they're core enough to have that self-respect for themselves to be like, fuck you guys, we don't need you. Where like BMX is kind of more in a boat where we're like, oh yeah, Olympics, yes, please get us in the Olympics so that we can have like lots of opportunity. Cause where like skateboarding's kind of like, fuck the Olympics, we don't need it. We have plenty of other stuff that is like core where we're not like selling out. Like, I don't know.
Like outside of skateboarding things.
Well, that's the difference. Is it boils down to BMX riders basically being desperate for money or to try to make some money off of what they do. And it would be a very ballsy move to get together and tell these contests, hey, we're not going to participate until you raise the money. I don't want to assume that the organizers of these events are putting them on and organizing them and just profiting and undercutting the athletes. I honestly don't think that that's a possibility. I think that guys who are putting these events on, for the most part, are doing it because they care about the sport and they want to. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't think that there's like these bags of cash to be made at these events that isn't being redistributed to the athletes. Maybe that's ignorance, but I don't want to believe that. But BMX riders they're not gonna step up and say no. Skateboarders, you're right, they could, but that's because their shoe sponsor is gonna pay them their check this month regardless. Their energy drink sponsor is gonna pay them their check. You know, whatever their board royalties they're gonna get. Like they're not hurting, but there are a lot of top level BMX athletes that are just scraping by. I mean, think maybe not. I don't know about in the park world as much, but think about some of the best street riders that we have in BMX that have jobs that they're carpenters or they're electricians and these dudes are working regular hours during the day and then they just happen to be top level athletes. Imagine if LeBron James was just like, you know, like a plumber and then when he had time he was playing basketball. It's like
Hango. He's
a perfect example. It's like that's crazy that in our sport, some of the best athletes need to make a living outside. Like they can't even pay the bills and they're the best of the best. That goes back to my earlier point about just pushing the sport beyond what it's at right now, guys like Nigel and stuff like that. But I think contests, it's the same way. I mean, fees, how much money is that contest generating for the organization? You know, if it's not super profitable, they can't pay the guys more than $2,000. I kind of wish park riders were just like, yeah, this isn't worth my time. But for whatever reason, they want to go and they do it.
Point system as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, isn't it because they create, they earn points is it to get to the Olympics or to
I think
qualify
so.
or whatever?
And other contests, maybe gold level.
So, I mean,
events
what did Mike tell you kind of what his motivator, like, why does he go? Is his aspiration to get to the Olympics?
I I mean, I think he would like to.
Yeah.
But it sounds like it's pretty complex how the funding works with Canadian BMX in the Olympics.
Right.
Like basically Canada doesn't fund anything for any BMX rider unless they're in the top 3. If they get like top 3 at like the biggest event.
Okay.
So like
It's crazy.
It does like I don't really know, but basically it's I think for Mike he has to pay a lot of his travel himself.
Right, yeah.
So just like the qualifier for the Olympics was in like Saudi Arabia.
Jesus Christ.
So
and he had to just pay his own way there.
He would have had to pay for the whole trip,
bro,
which is probably a lot of money.
Dude, that flight would be unreal.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So I think that had something to do with it.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy though. Like Mike Varga goes under the radar because
Big.
he's doing it bigger than any Canadian BMXer
Ever.
Like,
well, maybe not ever, but
yeah, like by far. Like he's like he just got 3 gold medals in a row,
unbelievable.
and at X Games, and like he doesn't have a bike sponsor. He gets paid by like Monster.
Crazy. Like he should have a signature complete
like,
already.
He doesn't have a travel budget.
That's fucking
Like,
crazy.
but okay.
That is mind blowing.
Yeah, that
and
is
like
insane.
he will for sure produce. If you send him to a contest, like he's doing crazy ass shit. Like why wouldn't you pay for that?
He needs to hire an agent.
Yes.
Yeah.
Think of we've all had opportunities to do commercials and stuff because of biking.
Mm-hmm.
We can't do flare whips. Like imagine
That's
how,
for sure.
imagine how, or maybe Mike can, I don't know, but imagine how easy it would be for him to book these gigs. He
And
would
do
just
crazy shit.
Just show them a quick reel of, oh yeah, this is me at X Games last year. You know, like
Right.
use some of the tools that Nigel uses, networking and stuff like that, and then back it with your incredible skills. Dude,
Right.
no problem. You have to be creative like that.
I think where he's unique is that he's in the Canadian BMX world. So he's suffering the consequences of being Canadian.
The Canadian
that's
shadow.
just-
Right?
It's just like a whole shadow over the country.
Right.
For like 8 months of the year.
It's
There's
so
just
depressing.
like, there's no BMX content.
Like most countries, if you had a gold medalist,
Dude.
the country would be backing the shit out of you.
Yeah,
Right? Like they would be
100%.
like, and companies in that country would want to back you. Like Rim, for example. Like,
right, yeah.
yes, he won the World Cup, but like before that, even, you know, like just if someone does well from like certain countries, like the country really backs them.
Yeah.
I feel like Canada needs to do that more,
Yeah, definitely.
maybe in BMX.
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully it'll start happening soon with like it being in the Olympics and people starting to actually like pay attention a bit more.
The thing about Mike too is that he could podium
Oh,
at
easy.
the Olympics.
Oh, dude.
Without question.
Like he's the only Canadian rider, in my opinion, that's capable of doing
100%.
that. Like
Yeah.
he's like very special when it comes to riding contests, performing under pressure. He's one of those guys that makes it look super easy.
Yeah,
but
he's
it's
so dialed, so consistent. And I mean, if you're winning X Games gold, like that is the pinnacle of the sport already. Like who's gonna come to the Olympics that isn't at X Games? You know what I mean? Like there's not just gonna be this random person who you're like, oh fuck, he's amazing.
Yeah.
Like like he's gonna be there, and like Mike hangs with those dudes already. Like he's doing fucking 1260s. Like it's just it's crazy.
no one's done that since, I don't think either.
No,
That's
like
the one and only one that's been
Really?
done. He did that.
yeah, fucking
Bro.
crazy.
He did that.
That's so crazy.
That
That
clip is
is-
insane. Like he's spinning so fucking fast. It's so cool.
So cool.
Yeah. Like I never ever thought that would be possible on a bike. And he like a dude that we know did it. Like that's the
Yeah.
coolest fucking thing. Shout out Mike.
Yeah. Youngin, Joyride local.
Dude, I remember little 14-year-old Mike on like a white DK with like white gloves just doing bar spins over everything. And like man, to see him like come so far, like it's so cool to see.
In that world though, like he needs to put together some sort of, it's cheesy, but he needs to do it. Put together some
Resumes.
sort of resume, some sort of plan of action that you can show companies and show here's what you're getting for your money. Because at that point, it's a product. You're trying to sell a product. And I know he deserves it. We all know he deserves it, but like you have to go get that stuff yourself.
Yeah.
He needs someone to do it. Like like you said, an agent. Like he needs
an agent,
someone
dude,
who will like handle all that administrative crap.
And
He's the perfect guy for an agent.
It's frustrating because we all know that it's like, no, he shouldn't need it. People should be knocking on his door wanting to sponsor him, but that's just not how it works.
That's the difference between hockey and BMX. Is like hockey, for example, if you're really good, scholarships,
people, you're scouted from fucking high school, pretty much.
People see you and they like. There's businessmen who see you and think dollar signs.
Of course.
So like they're gonna walk you through that process.
You're a racehorse.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you're just like they're just.
Yeah, which is sweet because they just get to play hockey. Probably get burnt out, but still, like they get to do what they love and make a lot of money for it.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's the difference between how big of an industry hockey is compared to BMX. You know, everyone that scout is benefiting off that talented kid. Like everyone, the companies are benefiting. Someone who scouts out Mike, they're not really going to make any. They're not making any money off. There's no incentive, unfortunately, unless it's just goodwill. Well,
here's another weird aspect, though, is it's like here's a guy who's gotten maybe more gold medals than some other guy who has energy drink contract that's 2 or 3 times the amount.
Yeah.
So it's like that's another interesting factor to it. It's like you can do better than other people, but if you're from a certain country, you get less money. Like, yeah, it's pretty wild.
Yeah, it's weird. Like even like dudes getting hooked up here and then like companies not really being into flying them places for even just like regular trips, not even like outside of BMX stuff. Yeah. Like in Canada, it's like, the flight's like an extra $300. Like, sorry, we can't send you on this trip. And it's like, that's what we deal with every day. Like there's always just those weird calls and you're like, oh, like if I was 2 hours south, like it wouldn't be a problem. But because we're up here, it's like, it's a big issue. I don't know why. It's frustrating, but I mean,
that you just kind of brought up a layered topic, and I feel like one layer to that is the distribution side of things. Just the fact that like in Canada or other countries than the US, those countries that are based, or those companies that are based in the US, those BMX brands, they sponsor people direct in the US,
right?
But then in those foreign countries where they have distributors selling their products for them, they expect those distributors to be doing the sponsoring, and they're not really doing as much sponsoring. Some of them are. Shout out OGC.
I'm like this. Ooh, I'm trying to stay out of this.
OGC is.
Joel's got words.
No.
OGC is doing the most in Canadian BMX from any distributor. So shout out to them because that's huge, right? Like any Canadian BMX company that's doing anything, there's not many. So
there was a big void for a while, and they stepped in, which is good.
Yeah, it's a tough thing to do. I mean, there's only a certain amount of funding available. You know, it has to make sense. It has to be strategic. As much as I'd love to hook up, there's so many people I just want to be able to hook up, and that's not how it works. It comes down to, it has to be a smart financial decision.
It has to be an ROI.
And at the end of the day, it's tough to justify sometimes when you could be investing that money into other things. But, supporting of like hooking up contests, getting prizing for stuff, like all that stuff goes such a long way. But yeah, I don't know. It's tough. I don't want to get into that too much.
Obviously, it doesn't help that like winter here is so brutal.
Well, yeah, that's
like, I mean, like for sure there's more BMXers in SoCal than there is in all of Canada. And like all those BMXers are riding all year round, whereas we are riding for 4 or 5 months, maybe. If we're lucky.
Well, exactly.
It's like I mean, of course, and there's, 100% more people in the States. So it's like, obviously they're going to be doing shit different. But yeah, it is frustrating that there's like this weird wall along the border. And like whenever BMX is involved, it's just like, maybe not the Canadian guy. I'm not saying this about anyone specifically. I'm just like, from me, like being at shop and just like seeing shit go on in the industry, like nothing from like personal experience.
Well, honestly, with a lot of, you have to be in people's faces, I feel like almost aggressively for them to remember, oh yeah, Chijo, like, dudes, think of the dudes who are killing it the most right now. Like Casey, for example. I mean, that dude is posting crazy clips every single day. It's like, That's literally what it takes for people. And all of his sponsors, if they're planning a trip or something, first guy that comes to mind, Casey. And that's just because 2 minutes ago, they saw an Instagram clip. It's tough. You have to be, I mean, in Canada, I guess you can post all the time, but you're right. There is that barrier with the border, but yeah, you have to just be so relentless, man. People nothing gets handed to you. And that's the same thing with Mike. Like we were just talking about. It's like, you have to be in people's faces, and that's uncomfortable, man. And like, not everyone wants to do that. And I empathize with that. I don't want to go around asking people for sponsorships and stuff. It's kind of gross, but in some situations, that's what you have to do. Yeah, it's tough.
I mean, at the end of the day, it is technically a job. And like, how often do people come to you and offer you like regular jobs? You know what I mean?
Well, exactly. Like, you'd have to be very, very good at something for someone to come up to you and like, hey, you good at robotics or something?
Yeah.
And just like, here you go. But yeah, ultimately, I just want BMX to get bigger so that none of this is a factor anymore. Everyone gets the piece that they earned. I mean, people put in so much time, and I feel like this is something that you notice, like people put their whole lives into BMX, and at a certain point they go, man, when am I going to get a return on this? When am I going to get the credit I deserve for this? And it just kind of never comes because it just doesn't exist. You know, it's like they expect something and they deserve something, but it's just not there. The money really is what I'm talking about. The money's not there. So they never get it. And that's so frustrating, man. But that's the difference with hockey. You're using hockey as an example. It's like a kid now you have to be like, you start hockey at 2 years old pretty much. And then by the time you're 17 or 18, if you didn't get scooped up, it's probably too late. It's like they put in all that work, and then there's a payoff, like a legit payoff, millions and millions of dollars. Dudes are putting the same amount of work into BMX, and then at the end, they're like, well, I guess I'll go learn a trade or something, you know, and
with
that's
my
just
fucked up body.
Yeah, with my blown out knees. It's like, yeah, I mean, that's the thing, man. If you ride BMX, it's gotta be, it's just passion. Because there are opportunities out there, but they're few and far between. You better live in SoCal. Otherwise there's not like,
well, and you could dedicate your entire life to it to try and get somewhere, to try and get to a place that you want to get to with, you know, opportunity and money. But there's a chance for the majority of people, even if they try as hard as they can, they're not going to get there.
Yeah.
And that's just a tough reality.
Yeah.
But like, that's what at the highest level, like you're talking about the best riders in the world.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you're competing against not only the highest skill, but the highest natural talent and passion. It's like all the people at the top of like BMX, it's like they're all like the people that love it the most because they've been doing it forever, but they also are super talented and obviously insanely skilled because they've been doing it for their whole lives and original.
Yeah, bro.
They're like all the guys who are like, you know, like staple names. It's like they're original. Like they're bringing something that like their own thing into it.
Yeah.
And like, that's how they like, it's just like a musician, like making your own style of music and, you know, finding your little spot in the industry.
Definitely.
Yeah, man. That's such a good point, eh? To make it to the pinnacle, because the pie is so small, to get into that conversation, the mix of, like you said, natural talent, passion, drive, you can't like, it's got to be the perfect combination. Otherwise you're just not going to be cut out. But I think as the sport grows and as more money gets introduced, then that opens up. There's more room in that, you know, at the table for guys who they're not just trick machines or they're not the best of the best, but they're sick. You know, they have good style. People,
they're tastemakers.
Yeah, right. And those guys can make a piece too. And you know, you see that in skateboarding. I mean, there are the Nijas and the best of the best, but then there are a lot of guys who are just, oh yeah, he's got like he's super good at this particular trick and they make a decent living. And that's where I hope BMX gets to, because there's a lot of dudes that deserve it, man. And it's just frustrating seeing them just hustle and just not get anything out of it. It's kind of a bummer, but Is what it is.
I'm gonna say this, but I don't want this to come back on me. But like, you know, like a lot, it's always bugged me, and I've never really talked about it before. But like, a lot of, you ever hear when like conversations like this come up, and like the older dudes are like, BMX doesn't owe you shit. Like that mentality.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I get it, but at the same time, like I feel like not that it owes you something, but like, why wouldn't we all kind of work towards not getting, maybe getting a piece out
making
of it, you know
it work.
mean? Yeah, like we all love it. We all like want to live, breathe, and sleep it. Like, why wouldn't we try and turn it into something lucrative and
that you can make a living off of? That's my whole thing this whole time. It's like, we want to be able to do this as a living. This is our passion. It's not possible right now because it's just too small. There's not enough money.
Yeah.
That's what it boils down to. And I don't think what you said is wrong. Like, yeah, okay, BMX doesn't owe you anything. Fair enough. You do it for the passion. But can we make it to where it's possible for a pro rider for that to be a career path? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you dedicate your life to music, it's like, yeah, music doesn't owe you anything, but it's possible to be a musician and make a good living and do that as a career. It's frustrating for BMX riders who have put in all the work, and then they get to a point and it's like, there's still no return. Where's my return?
Yeah.
I think that's what you mean.
Yeah.
And exactly. I don't think that that's a wrong sentiment, because people have literally put their body through the ringer,
their lives,
current, present included. Yeah. And at a certain point you go, yeah, man, I'd like something. And you know, we're like,
that's how everything works.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
like,
that's how university works.
Yeah. Like, can you imagine talking to a basketball player, like we were saying, like, oh, basketball doesn't owe you shit. Like, all right, well, fuck me then. I guess I'll just like quit the school that I went to for basketball, like to play on their team and shit. Like, I'll just give up all my dreams. Like, it just seems like it's a dumb answer thing to say.
It's this oversimplified answer.
And it's always coming from the top down too.
Well, yeah, and
it's hard too, because I'm picturing like someone who put their life into it but just wasn't good enough.
Yeah, there's that, like, for sure.
Those guys are probably like feeling like basketball owes them something, because but they're just not good enough.
Yeah.
And maybe they're just complaining. Maybe they didn't even work that hard, and maybe that's why they don't.
That's a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but regardless of that, even if you, like, you're right, that is a possibility. But there are in BMX so many dudes who should have made it that can't, and that is a byproduct of the system just not working. In basketball, it's just, I mean, everyone grows up playing basketball, and there are only so many players on an NBA team. So yeah, you better be the best of the best. And that's a harsh reality that a lot of people face as they get older, and they like, yeah, okay, I'm just not, I've played this for 10 years. I'm just not good enough. That is what it is. But in BMX, it just doesn't happen at all. There is no NBA, or if there is, there's one team and there's 10 guys on it, and you better be all the combinations of things you were talking about to make it on the team. Otherwise, you're not even on like a B league. I don't even know what it's called, but like, you're not even playing on like a house league and making a bit of money. You're just like not even in the picture at all.
No, just pure love.
You're
just
either
doing it for love.
That's it, right? And there are guys who do that, and that's the best of the best. But it's like, yeah, you're either on this 10-player NBA team, or you just got to go get a job and deal with it. And that's two extremes that I don't want to live with. I want BMX to be at a point where it's like, no, there's the NBA, that's cool. There's like whatever, the secondary league that people can make a decent living.
They make good money off like B leagues and like European leagues, and like,
that's what I'm saying.
It's crazy.
Hockey has that in Europe. Like
OHL does pretty good, don't they?
Do those
dudes work? I feel like they don't.
I don't know. The best players probably don't. But
that's one thing that's cool about YouTube, is like, you don't have to go out and look for a corporate sponsor or a sponsor to get you money. It's like, if you work hard at it, you can generate like your own, like you can pave your own like lane of making money out of it.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I mean, provided you're watchable, because you know, there could be, I mean, I'm sure there's millions of channels out there that people put their heart and soul into, and like like Joel said, they're just not charismatic, and it's like going to a lecture or something.
Yeah.
Like it's just,
unfortunately,
you know what I mean? Like it's just,
it's crazy. Like like I watch a lot of snowmobile, like there's specifically like 1 or 2 people that do snowmobile vlogs that I watch. One of them, Muskoka Freerider. He's like the biggest vlogger, snowmobiler. He's from Ontario too.
Oh, we watched one, right? Like
he's always on here.
Oh yeah.
But
he's always on here.
But like it's funny because in a snowmobile vlog, most of it is just GoPro footage. It's like you're watching a sled from like someone's POV. And so like a lot of it is basically the same. Like for like pro level snowmobiling, it's like they're all kind of doing the same thing.
Right.
The only thing that's different is like the filming quality and like how they're talking, like what they're saying, how charismatic they are. And like, it's funny because the one guy, Muskoka Freerider, it's like he knows how to like get you into it. Like you're watching it, he's talking to you, and he brings you on this adventure.
He's
and
a good
then
storyteller.
Totally. And also incredible filming. Like his videography is like amazing. So it's like you really can get a feel for like where he is or what he's doing. And like the blend of all that like really makes you want to watch him. And then you watch someone else, it's kind of like boring compared, even if their riding's a little better.
Right.
That even goes beyond the point where we were saying there should be room for, even if you're not the best of the best, there should be room at the table for someone who's pretty good, but maybe they have a different skill. Like they're good at talking to the camera and they can kind of draw people in.
Videography.
Yeah. That's part of it too, for sure. So
yeah, there's a lot of areas. Like I mentioned Palace earlier, like
website building.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that too. Like, I mean, everybody needs a website, so it's nice to be able to like build BMX websites and shit. But yeah, like the shit that Palace is doing, like for fashion now, like they are a legitimate fashion brand now, and it's like super cool because like I've always thought it would be sick. Like whenever, like Animal, when was it, like 12, 13 years ago now? Like they did that one cut and sew line, and I was this is fucking sick. Like this is what I want more BMX companies to do. And like obviously it's not easy to like design and produce your own clothes. Like they had like jackets and like
I remember those
sweater, all that crazy shit. But I was like, this is where I want BMX. Like this is really cool. And then there's like in skateboarding, there's dudes who are just like, they're fashion bloggers pretty much, but they skate and like they just have really sick fits and like they do like some cool tricks here and there, but like they're kind of like on the culture side of things and like still like they're getting their piece there. And it's like there's all that space in BMX and like we just need to capitalize on it. And I guess there's people like, what am I saying? There's
Billy's doing it with his clothing,
right,
like very specific pieces, you know, and
I love that shit because then it's just like you look fly as hell and like you know that person knows about BMX or whatever, you know, like if you see like a sick pair of like OG like Low-Tex or something like from back in the day, you're like, yo, those are cool. Or like just like those signature pieces. Like I wish BMX had more like really recognizable signature pieces, like the Thrasher sweater and shit like that, like that normal people would just like, you know, like just kind of cool stuff like that.
The crossover, that's what they need. They need crossover stuff that is appealing because that Animal stuff was sick, but I bet you that 90% of it went into bike shops.
100%. We had some at Core,
right? And
I bought most of it.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Exactly.
All the bike shop dudes bought it.
That's exactly right. So it's like, it was sick. They were able to sell some to the core BMXers who knew what was up, but it's not, you know,
it's a hard sell.
Oh, man. It's tough.
Like you walk into a BMX shop and you ask someone to buy a $300 jacket.
Right.
Like a tweed jacket. Like, no, they're not going to fucking buy that.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I feel like mountain biking, for example, like the way they've done it is like they've done it like according to like what they need, and like they have such specific needs for their like apparel that
their
they've like
stuff is so sick.
Oh my god, like the stuff that they do for like apparel is like so next level, but like it's like motocross where it's like you need like a specific type of like breathable jersey as like a shirt or like a base layer, like they've like
performance based
like everything really does like work better than like normal clothing. Like but then it's also like fashionable. It's like you look like a real mountain biker if you have like, you know, like mountain bike pants and
that's it. Like I want, like whenever people are like, oh, I want to look like a BMXer, like what the fuck does a BMXer look like? You know what I mean?
Straight up.
Like,
Levi's?
yeah.
Very much.
But like when a kid's like, oh, mom, like I want to kind of have like a skater look. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's a look to that. And like that's kind of cool. Like it would be sweet. Like that's what I tried to do with like that jacket, like the Not a Number jacket. I was like, oh, I want to make something cool that's like functional, but like still like sick looking. Obviously that went nowhere, but like I want to see more of that and be. And I know it's like it's it's asking for a lot, but it would just be so sick to like not only see people produce that shit, but also see like more core riders and like more people in the scene like hyping that shit up, because it's like it's cool. And like if someone sees that and they're not a BMXer, it's like, oh, where did you get that? And then
I think that thankfully Vans is kind of leading the charge with this in a lot of ways.
For sure,
but like the fact that they're releasing Dak t-shirts and jackets with like his custom designs on them. I was watching something the other day, maybe a podcast or something, and the person was just not BMX related at all, and they were wearing one of his Vans like with the waves.
Oh, that's fucking sick.
That's sick.
I was like, that's cool. Like they went into a Van store, they bought it. That's a good. That's exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah,
And
well, like it's happening. It's just not happening. Like there's obviously, if you break it down, like it's happening in some small places, but as a whole, it's not.
I've been sour about it for years already.
It's I assume it's way more dangerous for Animal to go out on a limb and say, hey, we're going to get 100 of these $150 jackets made and try to sell these. That's way more dangerous than for Vans to say, hey, Dak, you want to do up a few things? Like we'll print off some shirts, like low risk. So it takes big guys like that.
Right.
Thankfully, Vans is doing that.
Yeah, their business plan is rock solid, because if one of the Vans stores doesn't take some of the Dak clothing, which they already know that they have like a huge quota, like they're going to do an order for, 1,000 pieces like of shirts and jackets. And if they have any
POP printed for it already too.
Right. Yeah. And if they have anything left over, Winners, like all those, they have those backup stores where they can sell bulk for a little less margin and just like get rid of it.
Dean's like
So he's a big Winners guy.
Oh, he loves
a bargain.
Oh, he loves a good bargain.
Hell yeah.
Who doesn't? Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's the best. It's nice when you find like a unique piece of clothing too.
Oh,
like
hell
yeah. You wouldn't find somewhere else for. Yeah.
I mean, again, like it would be sick to like, oh, like this is like a 2-season old like Van shirt or like a Merit shirt or something, like just like, and people are like, oh, sick. And like, in a few years they're like thrifting it, like again, the Thrasher sweaters, like the OG ones, like, it's just, I keep using fashion as an example, but
it'll get there, dude. It'll get there. It'll just take, it takes time.
Yeah, 100%. And it is stressful. Like it's hard to do.
One thing that does worry me though, is that I was thinking about this today. Remember how big Nike was into BMX? You're talking about a huge corporation. They just dipped.
Yeah, that was
weird. They just dipped overnight, and they had Nigel is just leading this podcast, but they had Nigel, Garrett, Dennis, Chad. Who else was on that squad? Is that it?
Was AK on there?
Yep, they had a European team. Chris
Maxime
Kyle.
Chevron.
I was thinking about those videos that Navaz used to film. Those, like,
they had lots of dudes.
Like Nike, is it like a Nike in San Antonio video or something like that? They ride like a big ditch. Anyways,
so good.
The first one on the A7 in like Europe, and the like black night is purple. Navaz shot that one too.
Yeah, Simone was in that one, right?
Fuck, that's a good
video. Like, so back then we were looking at Nike. Oh, Nike's in this for the long haul. They're crushing it, right? But they just dipped. So obviously it wasn't. I worry so much about other brands doing that. Like, please don't ditch us.
I think the big one obviously is Vans.
That's
Vans
exactly.
Basically employs the majority of bike riders. They're one of the only paid shoe sponsors, and they're doing it big. But I feel like shout out to Vans, and hopefully they never drop out. I feel like they're not.
They have history though in the brand.
Yeah,
Nike kind of just like poked their head in quick. But like Vans has been here for a long time.
Vans has been in BMX like from the start, and also like Steve Van Doren, like the owner of the company, he's like goes to BMX jams and events. Like he was
at Huntington Beach Jam, right?
Right. Yeah. Like he's like there, like doing stuff, like barbecuing. Like is the owner
fucking sick.
Like is the owner of Nike? Like was he at those like Nike contests?
My concern that is really sick. And I know that his intentions are good, but my concern is that the BMX side of Vans is being kept alive by the skateboarding or the lifestyle side.
Yeah.
Like we are kind of we've got a little IV from
little splice in the line.
Yeah, that we're just like, oh, we'll take some of this.
Very good point.
Don't mind if I do. And then eventually they go, they're running the numbers year over year and they go, eesh, it's getting to be a little much.
Right.
I want BMX to grow to a point where they're like, no, this is a profitable thing on its own. But that's my concern.
Right.
Because
how do we get there?
Release more DAC shoes, more like Dennis shoes, put them in Vans stores and sell those more than any other model. Like prove that there's enough support for BMX that it can support itself. And that, I don't know, that you have to just make BMX more popular.
I can't believe we still haven't popped to the mainstream. Like
That's
we've been waiting, and even like Chad collaborating with Currency or Nigel collaborating with all the people he does. It's like, I feel like we still haven't gone mainstream. Like we're still not popping. Like BMX hasn't become this like cool main thing yet.
Yeah, that's weird. I honestly think, well, it needs to come from the young generation. So it needs to inspire like a decent chunk of the young generation who grows up loving BMX. Like I think that's the only way, because you can convince all the older dudes that it's sick, but for longevity, you need to have that younger generation coming in. And I think that scootering probably took a big chunk of what could have been BMX riders, and scootering.
That was a big hit.
And I mean, I'm not trashing scootering. Like it's its own thing, and it's
video games
really
too.
Sick.
Yeah.
Video games and scooters.
Well, that's just all sorts of stuff. Skating too,
right.
and biking is just kind of, like I said, the cost of entry is a little bit higher. Maybe it's a bit harder when you first start. It's not as rewarding. You can't learn tricks quite as quick. Who knows? But that's that's one of the biggest issues for us, is convincing the kind of young kids to get into it. I don't know how you do that. Make bikes more affordable or have stuff that's more.
I feel like having things like Joyride
Yeah,
definitely
Joyride
helps.
is huge for that. Like the camps, like even just giving a kid an opportunity to like ride around and like even just hit some of the small bumps and feel it. Cause like where else would you be? I mean, unless you let
build
your kids
it yourself.
Yeah. Or like take your kids to the skate park and like just let them go nuts. But like, like having a controlled environment with like concession stands and like tons of other parents around and all that shit. Like it's just such a comfortable area for kids to just play and enjoy. Like, I mean, if I got to do that as a kid, like, can you imagine going to Joyride as a kid?
Bro, it would blow your mind.
Like launching into the foam pit the first time.
That's what I'm saying.
Would be the coolest shit. Like just floating through the sky. Like I'd be hooked. I mean,
so true.
Like you would be hooked for life. Like just like that's what I want to do now. Like it would be crazy.
That's funny because I never even thought about that. Like I grew up on Vancouver Island, which was big bike influence, but there's no indoor skate parks there. Yeah. So like it wasn't something that was like, oh, let's go do this. Like, but that almost does make it seem like more official. Like being able to go to a facility like that almost to me makes it like that seems like it's more of like a legitimate activity.
Yeah, of course.
There's like an arena basically for it. It's like going to the fucking hockey rink. Like just go for a game or whatever. And there's like, there's other parents there. There's like supportive community to like.
That's just it. It's an appealing. Everything about it is appealing. It's a good facility. The community there is good. It's safe.
Parties.
Right. All the stuff that you need.
And if it got 100 kids to go that weren't gonna bike that month, and 5 of them are kind of like, I'm gonna do this again. It's better than nothing. Like it did.
Like the amount of kids, like fucking even Jeffrey, like Jeff sent me a picture. I think did I show you guys that picture?
Yeah, I've seen that picture. It's wild, bro.
At Joyride, and it's like he's like this fucking.
You're like, who is that?
Like it's the craziest thing, but like he was one of those kids once, and like it's just cool. Like the amount of kids we've seen go from like straight up like Groms to like actually really good riders coming into their own, and like Joyride was kind of their stepping off point. Like it's cool to see, and like I mean, it's too hot.
Too hot.
What?
Piece of garbage.
Did I burn her? Mike's just too sexy, man.
Mine's still good.
Oh yeah, you got the newer one.
Mine's cold.
Well, there you go. I forgot what I was saying. What did I say?
You're just talking about how Joyride was kind of like a launching platform for all sorts of young riders.
Yeah, it's just like at the end of the day, it's like it's a world class facility, and it has all that extra cool stuff to like bring I don't like saying normal people, like non-BMX riders, into it. You know what I mean? Because like, can you imagine your kid was like, oh, I want to start riding BMX, and you're like, there's like a fucking gross skate park like in town. Just go drop your kid off there for
Shout out to Barrie.
Fucking Queens Park, what up?
That's why there's no BMX riders in Barrie, is because you go downtown to the skate park and it's just it's a cage.
Dude, literally, it's the fucking Thunderdome.
Yeah.
Like, it's scary as hell.
Yeah, so it's not a coincidence that there's no scene. But, I mean, yeah, Joyride is responsible for a huge, wave of very, very talented young kids.